This art you see before you is made by the talented Zivler. Check him out on Twitter at MarcusDow and at his YouTube channel. This decade has had a robust amount of reboots, with not only in the realm of film, but in terms of video games as well, and most of them are atrocious. Hello Schlock, and welcome to another pristine video of mine. Really great stuff, my man. Where I give my 1 cent on a topic because Lord knows I can't afford to. God, that was a horrendous way to introduce myself. Anyways, on this occasion I'll be putting my 1 cent towards reboots, revivals, and the sort. Primarily with video games because I can't be bothered to discuss movie reboots as it gives me brain damage just trying to comprehend the state Hollywood is in. I'm sure any movie critic could tell you Hollywood doesn't know original idea. Oh, let's just have the Ghostbusters with women!
No, that is a deadly high five!
In order for there to be a reboot, I believe it needs to fall into one of two things. Now there could be some deviations to this rule, but this is what I mostly want to focus on. Now one reason to make a reboot is if it has aged a fair amount and could use an updated version, also referred to as a remaster. However, a remaster or port should only occur so many times. I think you can guess what game I'm referring to here. Skyrim! For example, it makes sense for Crash Bandicoot to have a remastered version, as the source material dates back to the original PlayStation and can reach a bigger audience as it has room to spice up the game. Skyrim has seen many ports and should have... Just make a new Elder Scrolls, please. I'm your biggest fan. Not really, but please. It's kind of like that one guy. You have that one friend that stays at your house for too long and has overstayed its welcome. Yeah, that's Skyrim. Okay, back on track to the second point. The second reason is if it wants to reimagine the original idea, offering a new perspective, but should still reflect aspects of the source material. Time and time again, I see films and games that you wonder if the creator has even heard of the original material. If it doesn't fall into these quote-unquote rules, I believe the reboot should be disregarded. Another issue I see often is reboots that don't have a good enough following for the original, whether it was bad or had just gone unnoticed. Some people would say that the reboot should not happen if it is in that state, but I'd argue if you can take some bad or forgotten source material and make a solid game out of it, that's a more noble task than making a reboot of a good game decent. That rarely happens, but my point still stands. So as you can see, the general consensus for reboots is, besides a few lucky breaks, that they are horrendous and leave the IP tainted with the mark of disgrace. But how did it end up this way, you may ask? It's because the AAA developers are pretentious pricks that don't know how to properly utilize an IP. Okay, I'm not exaggerating, but not by much. Examples of this include Konami with its Plinko machines, Capcom not using its flagship Mega Man to its full potential, etc. Which brings revivals into play. With more and more AAA developers acting neglectful or mistreating their IPs, a lot of fans and former developers of these neglected games have taken to fan fundraiser sites such as Kickstarter to garner a revival. Sometimes it's even out of pure love of the game. Besides Shovel Knight, a lot of reboots and revivals fall flat. There are many theories for why, but there is an underlying issue with the concept of revivals. In order to explain it, I'll be talking about Mighty No. 9, Yooka-Laylee, and again Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight takes concepts and mechanics from nostalgic games and with that generates its own game. Mighty No. 9 and Yooka-Laylee are stuck in the midst of whether or not they want to be very different or very similar to the source material. For example, Yooka-Laylee failed to acknowledge that the camera and certain aspects of Banjo-Kazooie could be fixed/made better. Mighty No. 9 was trying to implement its own ideas such as the dash thing, but in return made the level design convoluted. Bad revivals are crippling indie devs taking their ideas to Kickstarter, making users more and more skeptical of the concept each time. In other words, stop being opaque with your audience and know using "it's better than nothing" as your scapegoat or starting a Kickstarter midway through another. Good lord. While I do adore the concept of recreating a beloved idea to reach a new and wider audience, but too many times companies use the IP as simply as a marketing ploy or fail to recapture the feeling one had with the original. I've seen it done right, I just want that to happen more. This marks the conclusion of my rubbish form of nitpicking. Hopefully you were able to get something out of it, not including that I'm a nostalgia blind nerd that needs to just enjoy things. which I am. I'll see you in the next... Oh my god, I'm not saying that.